Yo, this episode follows the last one, the Russian threat. We wonder why our leaders use exaggeration and lies to scare us, but luckily, they always leave clues. It's like a treasure hunt. You just need to read between the lines. Oh well, same here. When I make my powder tracks on my speech, I have to read between the lines. It lets them ask if we've already discussed it. Did you know? It's old news anyway. Isn't it too late to complain now? It's already expired. Do you recall my speech from 6 months ago? I told you back then. Tired of doing nothing with no solution regarding peace that others won't promise us. Some people dared to say that it didn't mean much. Well, what if it was a spoonerism? We have no other choice but to wage war without making any promises regarding peace. Anyway, whether you know it or not, you're dumb without a stake. We're lying to you without a bucket of water, which doesn't mean much either, huh? Spoonerism.
The European Union is entering a new era of massive investment in defense.
That's obviously the main reason the European Union wants to increase its military power. It will be expensive and we'll pay for it, so we must see it as legitimate. A week after this video, they tried to scare us at the European level. Ursula von der Leyen told us that a large-scale war against Russia could break out by 2030. It's funny how the dates always match their agenda. They actually made a schedule up to 2030 to finance the war. Please, Russians, it would be nice if you could wait until we've spent everything before attacking us. On the same day, the European Commissioner for Defense said the European Union is 450 million citizens shouldn't rely on 340 million Americans to defend them against 140 million Russians who can't defeat 38 million Ukrainians. It's odd to think the Russians, unable to defeat Ukrainians, would attack someone 10 times larger. Especially since nothing at all suggests Putin would attack a NATO member. Quite the opposite. There's something I don't get here. Wasn't the goal of the European Union at its creation to be able to guarantee peace independently without needing the Americans? Yeah, so that's a big admission of weakness. What have we been doing for 50 years, and where did the money go? It feels like we're a kid who suddenly starts doing combat sports overnight. Because tomorrow, our best buddy Belize won't be there. Nope, he's sick. So who's going to defend us, huh? Against the ones we make fun of every day? The European Union's main goal is to promote peace, its values, and its people's well-being. Whereas here it feels more like, oh, a good war, huh?
This effort must be financed responsibly.
And yes, because the 800 billion war effort at the European level, after justifying it with the Russian threat, well, it's still going to have to be financed.
So let's be clear. There's no goal to increase taxes, nor of course to increase the deficit. We will not sacrifice our budgetary sovereignty to finance our military sovereignty. So it's a matter of budgetary choices and the efficiency of public spending that we collectively face.
Wait, from the beginning, didn't she say?
So let's be quite clear.
No, it's unclear. I don't know what we're supposed to do together. I hope we aren't all doing a referendum. No, I'm not a yellow vest. No, don't hit. They chose to make this war effort themselves. But since it's with our money, in a burst of kindness, they let us decide what we're going to sacrifice. You have to cut off a limb, whichever you choose. Just like me, we're the same. But it's mandatory. Yes, it's mandatory. All Europeans will do it. All of them, but you have to do it yourself. I don't want to be responsible for an infection or anything. And besides, I can't stand blood. Oh no, blood. No, I can't. That's actually why I married Brigitte. And yes, never a trace of period blood in the toilet, never, even though, spoiler alert. They know where they want the money to go and as usual leave clues in their speeches.
Denmark is even reforming its pension system to fund its army.
The Danes are just like that, aren't they? Sacrifice came to them naturally. It's only happening because it's on the European Union's agenda, and no member country will avoid it. I expect another failure. We're not giving in on pensions. We, the French, the non-yellow vests, no, don't hit me. And yeah, on this subject, since we're not likely to just say amen without complaining, that's not really our style as French people. So, they think they're going to push this through with a little war effort, huh? After the virus war, now a war over 1,000 kilometers, money.
After the announcement by the President of the European Commission of an 800 billion euro plan to rearm Europe, but also to provide military aid to Ukraine, the French would have to make new choices on this subject. How and when will the French be able to express their choice regarding our country's increased involvement in this armed conflict?
Great question, especially since if we had a choice, our decisions might differ from those they've likely already approved.
That's why, beyond the controversies, the government wants to go out into the field and explain the issues to those closest to the French people.
Ah, okay. So we'll decide after we truly understand what they want us to choose.
So that when we have drawn the conclusions from the work we are doing, both on the reform of the state and also the work being done on pensions, for example, by the social partners, after collaborating with local authorities, all state spending will be scrutinized. We are really working ministry by ministry in a very proactive way on these issues.
Everyone will make a wartime effort. Them with state reform, us with pension reform. Funny how pension reform keeps coming up almost by chance. 2024, I just blew up our Élysée expenses again with Brigitte. A level never reached before, so I think that by making a little effort, we should be able to reduce it a little. Yeah, living precariously, like Sarkozy.
You know, the French are completely responsible. I'm struck by the great realism of the French, who understand very well that we're going to have to change a bit the way this state works.
You have this kind of phrase, it says it all. If you think like us, it means you're responsible. Look, that's sweet. It makes me want to paint a picture of realism, right? So that we can make the right decision together. Defense spending has been at 2% of gross domestic product for 20 years. The war in Ukraine started 10 years ago, but it's only today that we're getting off our asses. Well, we should only start getting off our asses in 2028 when it won't be Macron's problem anymore to go from 2 to 3% of gross domestic product by 2030. Even though in billions it's huge, it's still just 1%, which could, for example, easily be covered if we put an end to tax evasion. Tax fraud, social fraud, and undeclared work are just one example, and we don't have to address all four. I have another idea for finding the money, but I doubt the government will like it more than fighting tax evasion.
The European Parliament estimates corruption in France costs 120 billion euros annually.
Hey, we could increase pensions with the extra money, but oddly, they aren't considering that option. If we look further, I think we could find enough money to rearm Europe. You know, the 800 billion.
Do other countries spend a lot less or more?
For the European Union, the total is 980 billion.
Pensions make up 13.5% of France's gross domestic product. At best, we might reduce that to 12.5% by 2030. That's already too much. It's a lot, but still not enough. Just two small things. First, we were at 14.7% in 2020, so the 1% effort has already been made in recent years. And with the promised reductions in state operating costs, we nearly get another 1% without even needing it. Yes, but it's complicated and pulls from many ministries' budgets. Oh, it's a mess, but we could just raid the pension fund, right? And it has to be done before I leave. Are we using our pensions to fund the war? I think with a little bit of thought, we can answer no. There's no need. No, that's nonsense. Claiming we need war for pension reform acceptance is just a conspiracy, right? Obviously, we were going to have to deal with the pension reform at some point anyway. Oh, by the way, here's a little spoiler for the future if the pension reform doesn't work out for the European Union by 2027. Well, they'll put Edouard Philippe forward as president. That'll be his job. On the other hand, if it's the war that's not going well, then it'll be Raphael Glucksmann. Well, they've planned everything. Read the press, damn it. It just allows them to make it look like a small necessary effort, using fear politics and claims that we are at war. Wait. You mean that the we are at war against COVID thing was just to make us put in effort? Damn, but it worked on a lot of people. By the way, could you tell your wife that we are at war against the birth rate deficit? She should come see me quickly then, right? At war? No, honey, we need you. See the guy with the beer. You know what he's saying. I thought they were still teasing the war in Ukraine because it was a leftover miscarriage from the Cold War between the Sharks and the Ruskies. And now that there's only us left, aren't we supposed to promote peace? It got complicated, but briefly, since these will likely be future video topics. On our side, continuing the war would benefit the European Union because if the war ended today, thanks to Trump, the benefits of this negotiation would be split between the Americans and the Russians. Ukraine too, regarding peace. But for the European Union, it would be a total loss of money and credibility. Nonsense!
If Russia wins this war, Europe's credibility will be reduced to zero.
Well, maybe. It would also benefit NATO to continue the war because it wants to bring its military bases closer to Russia by bringing new countries into its fold. Well, it's certain that a peace negotiation would very likely slow down the expansion of the European Union and NATO. Finally, it would benefit Macron, otherwise it would be a net loss of everything he has invested and his credibility in terms of European leadership, as well as through the French economy. Because we shouldn't forget to mention that, among other things,
French defense and the French defense industries are the second largest exporter in the world.
to invest in defense, you have to be willing to attack at least a little, that's for sure. Like it or not, the European Union aims to impose its imperialism across the continent, especially now that the United States appears to be limiting its hegemony. But what imperialism? The only real thirst for expansion comes from Russian imperialism. That's all, huh? What do you want? Do you want to end up drunk on vodka, attacking lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender activists? That's it. I think I'm not going to answer that one, right? Do you remember the main goal of the European Union? To promote peace, its values, and the well-being of its people. I hope that's not some kind of failed pun, like promoting its values at the expense of peace and the well-being of its people. Paradoxical. Why do we take drugs? I say let's go, but I've never been good at math. Gabriel Apolatal is here, and I'm outraged, son from beyond. If you want another paradox, it types on the keyboard. If you want another paradox, it types on the keyboard. Thank you for the excitement about the new episodes, and as always, thanks to everyone who comments, likes, shares, and types. On the other hand, I was throwing it to him. See you very soon.